Hi guys, Alex Taylor here at Living Golf Academy, and today we're going to be looking at Honma Golf's offering of irons for 2019, the TW747 range. Right then guys, so we've got three models from Honma Golf, new models for 2019. We've got the TW747V, the VX and the P. So the V is the kind of least forgiving of the cavity models, least offset, smaller, more compact head, maybe aimed at that better ball striker. We've got the VX, which is slightly bigger, slightly more offset, bit more forgiving, but for the guy who's still after forged product. And we've got the 747P, which is the cast version. Let's have a little look at the heads. Let's hit some shots on TrackMan and let's see a TW747, something that could be going in your bag. Right then guys, so I'm going to start with the TW747V. So this is more the player's iron, it's not the blade, it's not the one that Justin's using, but 32° 7-iron. We saw from the close-up of the head, you know, a very, very good looking, compact iron, very much aimed at the better player, whose ball striking is good, but maybe just needs that little bit of help. So I'm going to hit 5 shots with each club with Titleist Pro V1X on TrackMan. We're going to look at some distances, see how these 7-irons perform, and talk a little bit about kind of looks and feel and which kind of player would be looking at each of these individual irons. But like I said, we're going to start off with the V. And I think down behind the ball, not the thinnest top line for this style of club that I've seen, but feels lovely. Very, very soft, as you'd expect from a forged club. And certainly for me, I do like the very thin top line stuff, but not so bad in 7-iron, but certainly when you get into those longer clubs, I think when they're very, very thin, unless your ball striking is exceptionally good, can get shown up a little bit. But that first one, good distance. And again, feels. For me personally, there's nothing better than forged product. Does come at a little bit of a cost. Obviously, different prices around the world, but all forged product from any manufacturer is generally a little bit more. But initially, really do like the looks and feel of that. And for a 32° 7-iron, certainly some very, very good performance to start with. Oh yeah, that's right up there feel-wise with anything else that I've hit. Now this definitely, like I said, aimed at the better player. Not necessarily, because I think the Rose Proto blades, I think, are going to be very, very nice. And I could see better players maybe putting longer irons in these and maybe going into the blade 7-iron down. But looking at that 7-iron, I don't dislike the look of that at all. I think it looks good, feels good. Oh yeah. And certainly on performance, performing really, really well for something at 32 degrees. So maybe expecting not to hit this as far as a couple of the other models, with the loft being not quite as strong, but certainly a very, very good start. And again, nice flight, good distance. Yeah, really, really like that. So let's look over those 5 shots as the average carry for the TW747V. So we can see there, 165.2 carry. So like I said, for a 32° 7-iron, decent length. Not as long as some of the stuff on the market, and certainly not expecting this to be as long as, say, the P, for example, with the loft being so different, but a really, really good start. Right then guys, so that moves us into the TW747Vx. So slightly bigger head, slightly stronger loft at 30 degrees. Certainly with being bigger, going to be more forgiving. So this for the guy who maybe doesn't strike it quite as well, but is still wanting forged product. So again, 5 shots, and let's see how this performs. So maybe with a 2 degree less loft, maybe not expecting a full club length, maybe round about that 170 would be my expectation. So behind the ball, definitely noticeably longer blade and a little bit more offset. Certainly top line looks a little bit thicker as well. But still retains that lovely soft feeling that you're going to get from forged product. And definitely a little bit longer than I probably anticipated. But very, very nice. And again, very good. So where I said before with the V, I could maybe see better players going mid to long irons in that, and then maybe more the blade. Maybe the guy that wants that little bit more forgiveness might split the sets between the V and the VX, because this definitely looks like it'll be much more forgiving on those slight off-center strikes. So that one didn't feel quite out the middle, but still very, very good yardage. And so far, certainly feel-wise, can't tell the difference at all between the models. Just all down to visuals really, and that little bit extra performance out of the X. Right, so one final one, and then we'll look at some averages. And again, very, very good. Now certainly one of the things with the X that's going to make it a little bit more forgiving is just in the toe you can see a little bit of tungsten weight, so maybe just dragging that CG a little bit more into the middle of the club face. But again, the bigger head, just about really as much forgiveness as you can get, but also with it being a forged head. So let's look at some averages and see how the 747Vx performed. Right then guys, so I was expecting around 170, so slightly longer at 174, but certainly for me there, as you take that little bit of loft off, not only are you getting a little bit more ball speed, but you're just taking the spin down a little bit, so still at 174, very, very good. Right then guys, so we've looked at the forged irons, we're now into the cast model, the 747P. So when you look at the back, you know, this is screaming kind of power, forgiveness. We can see in the back kind of a little bit more of a dampening material, tungsten in the head. So this is about at 28.5 degrees as well. This is a strong, powerful 7-iron. So down behind the ball, again, noticeably, you know, bigger head, thicker top line. This looks really powerful, and I would expect this to go a long way for a 7-iron. This for me very much aimed at the guy that wants that ultimate forgiveness, maybe isn't too bothered about forged, but maybe get a little bit more out of this than you would out of the VX. Ooh. Okay, so definitely not as soft feeling as the forged product, but that was probably a little softer than I was expecting. And definitely with the material in the back of the club head, I think that's a big influence on sound and feel. But yeah, that actually feels very, very good for a cast iron. And certainly distance wise, those look pretty good to begin with. Oh, that's very nice. And it'd be interesting because for me, this is a, not that the other two aren't, this is very much a kind of distance orientated iron, but definitely got more of the feel of a player's iron. Some of the products out there this year from different manufacturers that is this kind of loft, I think is quite harsh off the face and feel very, very hard. But that is a rocket. So again, very, very good, very easy to hit. One final one with the 7-iron. Oh, that is very nice. Okay, so let's have a look at the 7-iron in the 747P, see how it performed and kind of how it stacked up against the other two models. Right then guys, so just under 178 carry, so would have maybe expected a couple of yards longer than that, but still very, very good. For me, very consistent in those yardages, and a very, very forgiving iron, and I think definitely will tick the box for a lot of players on looks and feel, while still having that real forgiveness in there. Right then guys, so just as a little bit of extra for this, Honma very kindly have sent me a 4-iron and a 10-iron in the 747P. So where most manufacturers go 9, gap, pitch, Honma aren't, they're going 9, 10, 11 in this iron. So I'm going to hit a few shots again with this, look at numbers. So certainly when we're looking at nearly 180 carry with 7-iron, got to be looking probably round about that 140 with the pitching wedge, which is a long way. But again, for those guys who are looking to hit the ball further, got to be beneficial. So definitely down behind the ball. Looks really big for a pitching wedge or a 10. You know, for me, the 7-iron wasn't noticeably huge, but this is very, very big for a wedge. Still feels nice and soft, still like that. And definitely, when I've been looking at products during the year where the lofts are definitely cranked, even the wedge for me has really, really hit the ball a long way. Whereas probably not hitting this that much further than I would hit my own wedge, if at all. But it's good, I like it. Yardage wise, so far looking just a little bit back of where I would expect. And probably for me, not visually the nicest looking, but certainly for me, I wouldn't be going for this particular set of irons myself. I think for anyone looking for that ultra forgiving, it's probably actually not a bad looking wedge. Some of the wedges are incredibly thick top line, and I think are okay for full shots, but when you play partial shots, where this probably still looks okay for that. Again, felt good, still performed. So let's look at numbers quickly for the 10-iron. Okay, so 132 carry, certainly back a little bit of where I would expect. Right guys, so that moves us into 4-iron. Now, certainly for me, where it does look big, but it doesn't look massively offset, and to be honest, the top line I don't think looks that big and chunky. It's just the blade length looks a little bit longer. So we saw kind of just under 180 with 7-iron, so really got to be around that 210 carry with 4-iron. Again, super impressed with how they feel. I mean, not the be all and end all that 4-iron feels nice and soft, but that felt great off the club face. And a good distance. Oh, yes. Do like that. Do like that. I mean, possibly for me, you don't want to be splitting too many sets of irons through the bag, but whatever your longest iron would be in the bag, this is very, very forgiving, very powerful, and I think anyone that can use long iron probably wouldn't say no to have 1 or 2 of these in the bag. Again, just really good flight. And certainly height wise looks like something that if I was hitting that into a green, I could get the ball to stop when it lands on the green. Again, really, really good. Do like that. So one final one with 4-iron. Let's see how that performs. Just feels so good off the face. Right then guys, so quick look at 4-iron and then an overview of the TW747 irons from Honma Golf. Okay, so I said I was looking around 210 for the carry, and I think at 212, that's bang on the money, doing exactly what I would hope from 4-iron. Looked great, felt really, really good, and ultimately performed exactly how I needed it to perform. Right then guys, so what did I think of the TW747 irons? I think really, really good in the sense that I think most manufacturers nowadays appreciate that they need to have an offering for that better player, ideally in forged product, and I think that's where the V model really, really works well. I think then VX and P are very, very forgiving. I love the fact that VX is still forged, so if you've got that guy that wants that forgiveness, that feel is the be all and end all, and maybe he's always aspired to having forged product, but some of the stuff out there hasn't been forgiving enough. I think that's a great offering. But to be fair, I thought the P model was exceptionally good on feel for something that's actually still a cast iron. So if you are in the market for new irons, Honma, slightly higher price point than some of the stuff out there, but nowhere near as expensive as some of the stuff out there. The Honma gear is great, great quality. Manufacturing processes are really, really top end. So I think if you're willing to spend that little bit more on a set of irons, Honma Golf is something that you should be considering. But as ever, you need to get along, get fitted, test certain irons side by side, see what performs best for you. Not necessarily which one hits it the furthest, but which one maybe hits the numbers that you need it to hit. So guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, like and share it. Comment below, I'll get back to as many of you as I can. If you've enjoyed today's video and you don't already follow me, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.